The statement that Doctor Doom needs more of a build-up before being introduced in Avengers Doomsday is the epitome of lunacy.
It's bullshit, I tell you.
The biggest thing that bothers me about this phase right now, where we're going into Doomsday, Secret Wars, and all that shit, is we don't have a T'Challa in the MCU.
Right. Because you're missing so much. He's the king of an entire nation, and to just, have that missing from where we're going is a travesty.
Thunderbolts. Marvel had the balls to actually change the name of this movie to New Avengers in a lot of their marketing. It did give them a little boost on Thursday. So now this movie is not knocking it out of the park from a box office standpoint. It's not flopping either. It's just kind of, it's mid, I guess.
Mid.
Ironheart is set to premiere June 24th. So Ironheart series.
Oh, the series.
You wouldn't know because they haven't fucking said it. If I didn't tell you, I had no idea.
It'll just show up on the streaming service one day, right?
Exactly. The rumor is that we're going to see a Batman in the DCU before that movie even happens. And then they're even alluding to some type of world's finest movie, which would be like a Batman-Superman team-up. How do you feel about that?
They've already had a Batman-Superman team-up.
Well,
it failed.
Yes, that part. Stop the ridiculousness with all this John Walker glaze. Steve Rogers, Captain America, would dog walk U.S. agent. All right. Welcome to Only Comics. I'm Mike. That's Adrian.
What's up, y'all?
What's up, bro?
Another what is this? What holiday we coming up on?
Happy Mother's Day, Adrian.
Yeah, same to you, sir.
Thank you. And to all the mothers out there, I know we don't have many mothers that watch,
right.
But you know what?
You never know.
You never know. But if you are, happy Mother's Day to everyone out there. We should get gifts for Mother's Day as husbands. I'm just saying, throwing that out there as an idea.
So we should get gifts on Mother's Day?
Yes, for supporting our wives.
And Father's Day?
Yes, that part. Yeah, it's gonna go over really well.
Oh yeah.
But anyways, well, Adrian, we got a lot going on this week. We saw the Thunderbolts movie last week, right? Yep. We reviewed that here. We talked about that a bunch, and one of the things that I mentioned last week. Remember, I asked you. I said, "Do you think that they have the balls, right, to really?" And I guess spoiler alert if you've not seen the movie yet. The whole asterisk deal. Was because Thunderbolts is not the actual name to the movie, right? Or maybe it's one of the names.
Right.
Also known as New Avengers. So they made the change. That was a pretty cool move.
Yeah.
They went out, made, some bunch of poster changes. And the way the poster is designed is it looks like the poster was ripped, and underneath Thunderbolts it says New Avengers.
That's
so
cool.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I even saw some videos of like Sebastian Stan plays Bucky. He was out swapping out some posters and stuff.
Cool.
And then, of course, Adrian, there's always Scuttlebutt, right? Scuttlebutt.
Okay.
People are yapping and
gotcha.
Scuttlebutt, as they used to call it back in the day.
When you said that, my mind immediately went to the X-Men's. It's a spaceship called Scuttlebutt. So.
Oh, okay. There you go. No, this is like Scuttlebutt, like people yapping, noise.
Gotcha.
Noise. So there was noise about that. People were saying it's a desperate move by Marvel to change the name to Avengers and all this nonsense. And I don't look at it as desperate. Like, I view it, I think it's actually pretty bold.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, midway through marketing a movie to just change the name.
Sure.
Now, I guess what they're saying is, well, using the Avengers name is kind of a lazy way to attract some attention. But it's all perspective. I mean, I look at it, I think it's genius.
Right.
What about you?
Especially the way they introed it.
Yeah.
Fontaine, kind of set herself up to be, because she knew that they were pissed at her for all the shit that she was doing, right?
Right.
And then kind of like ushered them into the thing, and then all of a sudden you're in front of the cameras, and then she, introducing her team, right? The New Avengers.
Right.
So I think that inside the movie is alignment with basically what they're doing outside of the movie. So I think it's a smooth move.
Yeah, it's cool. And in this like day and age, we talk about Deadpool a lot, those movies and how they're real, breaking the fourth wall, things of that nature. It's cool to kind of blend these two together. The reality of changing the name, but again, that's also what happened in the movie.
Right.
I think it makes perfect sense. I think it's cool. It's bold. It's different.
And if you think about it, I mean, they were playing with, they were kind of kidding around with creating the Thunderbolt, they coming up with the Thunderbolt name.
Right.
It was like, the soccer team,
Yeah,
blah, 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 blah. So that wasn't actually the name of the team anyway.
Right.
It was just kind of like, de facto kind of stuff. And then, so now it becomes this new adventure. I think it was kind of masterful.
Absolutely.
How they orchestrated this whole thing.
And they take a movie that, even based off the box office, we're getting into news in a minute. Maybe the desire to see this movie wasn't as high as an Avengers or Infinity War, one of those types of movies, but they did a good job of taking a movie that's kind of low-key standalone, but making it very important for the next few movies.
Right.
Really puts a lot of interest on Fantastic Four now. Not that it wasn't there already, but also I think you start to see the story develop for Doomsday and Secret Wars, and you think that they got some type of plan. So they got no plan.
Sure.
They have a plan.
Right.
They just haven't told you about it yet.
Exactly. And they're not required to.
Correct.
And the thing about it is, for me, is like, I had this conversation with someone earlier this week. For me, Thunderbolts, I was surprised that Thunderbolts was not a Suicide Squad, which is kind of what I expected it to be.
Yep.
And it is so much more than that.
Yeah.
Not only is it engaging and entertaining, but it also leads into other things.
Correct.
Which you get into later.
It's also a lot better than the Suicide Squad.
There's that.
Or the Unalive Squad. Yes, them too.
Well, any version of the Suicide Squad, or the Justice League, or the Flash, all of those movies.
Pretty
I'm
much.
just saying.
All the above. And I think, in these movies, in comic book movies, I don't say you have to look at them in a different light, but there's different elements to these movies than other movies.
Sure.
There's the whole connected universe that they've been building since 2008, right? And I think a good movie like this tells a good story. I feel like the story they told was great, and that's done, but it also opens up a lot more questions for the future, which makes you more interested in what's to come, right? We don't know. We know that Sam's putting together a team of Avengers.
Correct.
We have no idea who's on that team yet. We know we'll find out in Avengers Doomsday. They wouldn't call the movie Avengers if the Avengers weren't in it, right? I don't think they're going to change the name of that one.
Right.
But there's a whole team there, right? And then there's also this kind of element of I'm getting the feel like we might see another version of a Civil War type of Avengers versus New Avengers.
The whole premise of Secret Wars is that, so the original one was this. The Beyonder came in and basically said, hey, I'm going to bring all these. First of all, he attracted them, to this Citadel kind of tower thing.
Right.
And then whisked them off to this alternate pocket corner universe or whatever.
Yep.
And
Battle World.
And basically said this. I'll give you whatever you want. I have the power to give you whatever you want. Only thing you have to do is defeat your enemies. So, it might be Avengers versus Avengers, but it's also going to be Avengers versus. It's going to be everybody versus everybody, really.
Right. In Secret Wars.
In Secret Wars.
Yeah.
Because it really boils down to, the one-off, who walks out
Correct.
Alone or whatever. So, I don't know how they're going to, twist this one up.
Yeah.
But Avengers versus Avengers, Avengers versus X-Men, Avengers versus Fantastic Four. And then you get into the criminal elements, the claws, the whatever.
Yeah. Because there's a lot that can happen with these two movies. Like, Battle World could be introduced in Doomsday, or it could be held until Secret Wars. Doomsday could end with Battle World being created, almost like that Infinity War ending where everything's fucked now. Right? So there's so many options. I'm talking, even before they get to Battle World, with the friction going on between these teams, do we see a little bit of a Civil War type of because, the Russo brothers are directing this. One of my favorite scenes in about all the movies they've directed for the MCU, a lot, but one of my favorite scenes is the airport scene from Civil War.
Right.
Where you get the two teams, they're pulling punches a little bit, but I love even Tony's intro. Like, isn't it funny how you run into people at the airport and then they just start going? But I feel like we're gonna get something along those lines in this Doomsday movie.
Yeah.
Because you got the Russos, they've done it before, and it's a perfect build up. And then I would assume, or I would guess that with Doom coming into this universe, Fantastic Four, all these things, they're going to put their differences aside to, take care of the bigger threat.
Right.
But I think we'll see some of that friction in Doomsday, which I hope we do.
Yeah. I just hope, and this is like a minute thing, but I hope we don't see any cringe-worthy shit like Star-Lord's, oh, you killed Gamora? Bullshit. Or, Stephen Strange's ego get in the middle of shit and he starts going off on a tangent. It's just like that. Okay, we're almost about to get this guy, and then one of those two, screw it up.
Right. Absolutely. One more thing before we get into the news. I saw a lot of this out there too. People saying that this hasn't been enough. There's not going to be enough build-up for Doctor Doom. Like, he's not, he hasn't been in any movies yet. Mm-hmm. We don't know if he's going to be in Fantastic Four. He's not going to be the main villain. He may be in a post-credit scene, but, it's going to feel rushed, and they should have built to Doom a little better. But I go, think about Thanos. Mm-hmm. Outside of a couple post-credit scenes, one where he didn't talk, mm-hmm. right? Then a few years later, he's in a post-credit scene where he basically says, like, oh, you failed, I'll do it myself when Ultron failed. He was kind of in the shadows in Guardians of the Galaxy. It wasn't until Infinity War 2 where he got a real proper look at Thanos.
Right.
And that was his first. That's basically what Avengers Doomsday is going to be for Doctor Doom. Mm-hmm. Also, I think with this connected universe, people lose sight of, or they're fucking stupid, one or the other. Could be a little bit of both.
Could be.
But they lose sight of the fact that for decades, Adrian, people did movies that weren't connected, right? So, like, the first time you watched, I don't know, The Matrix, who's the villain in The Matrix? Probably a bad example.
Yeah. The Matrix is the villain.
The Matrix is the villain, right? You didn't need 3 fucking movies to build up to tell you why The Matrix was the villain.
Right.
It's in the movie.
Exactly.
Right? Like, I mean,
well, besides the fact that, this is a situation where the reputation precedes you.
Correct.
You don't need to build up to Doom. Doom can just come out of the shadows.
Absolutely.
And everybody immediately knows what he's about.
Right.
So you don't need to do all that bullshit. Number one. Number two, you got a couple of years, and I'm assuming there's probably 3 or 4 movies that's going to hit before, this movie comes out. Right. Doomsday comes out. So he's got promos that he can pop around into. So,
and all you need is a little tease.
All you need,
a better example, The Dark Knight, one of your favorite movies, right?
Yep.
A lot of people say it's one of the best comic book movies of all time. Now, we knew who the Joker was. Right. We've seen him in comics, like we've seen Doom. And in Batman Begins, the end of that movie includes a little Easter egg where Jim Gordon has a Joker card left in an empty bank.
Right.
He hands it to Batman, and we know Joker will be in the next movie.
Right.
Did anyone say, that's not enough build-up for Joker?
Right.
No. They cried because it was Heath Ledger, and then he knocked it out of the park, and then they all collectively shut what we call the fuck up.
Or in Penguin, the last season, when the bat signal shows up at the end of, those kind of things.
Right.
You don't need to build up.
Correct.
You know who it is.
Exactly.
You know it's going to come. So,
like, I would be shocked if there isn't some type of Doctor Doom tease in Fantastic Four at the end.
Right.
Probably in a post-credit scene like we just saw with Thunderbolts. Matter of fact, I read that they're doing some reshoots right now for Fantastic Four, which the movie's done. So any reshoots are probably a post-credit scene.
Sure.
Just like they did with Thunderbolts. They did some reshoots, and it was 4 weeks before the movie came out. They shot that post-credit scene.
Nice.
So I think, like, guys, take a step back. Remember back before we had the MCU, movies weren't connected. And, like, in The Lion King, Adrian, we met Scar in that one movie.
Right.
And we knew he was a badass motherfucker in that one movie. We didn't need a build-up. So anyways, I don't think we need more build-up. I think they're going to knock it out of the park. I'm looking forward to Fantastic Four. But anyways, like the video, share this if you haven't already. Also, welcome all the interns to the show. We're going to get into some news and rumors. We got an action-packed show, Adrian. We got a hidden gem later. We got some Last of Us stuff. Also, I did something a little different this week, Adrian. I got some comic panels I want to share with you. So I'm doing this deep dive, right, into Secret Wars. I'm working on the road to Secret Wars, Adrian. And I think in a, don't quote me on this, but in a few weeks, maybe a month or two, we are going to start that journey here, right? Share it with all of our viewers. But I've been kind of reading backwards from Secret Wars. So I want to find the perfect entry point, and then create a path on how you get to Secret Wars, what you should read, what are, everything you should read, and then essential, material. But I say all that to say I'm reading through Civil War right now, and I got some shit I want to show you to get your reactions. You've never read the Civil War comic.
No.
So anyway, we'll get into that later. We got a hidden gem later. We got to agree. We got a bunch of shit, Adrian. So let's get into some news and rumors, Adrian. This past week, we touched on this already, but the Thunderbolts, Marvel had the balls to actually change the name of this movie to New Avengers in a lot of their marketing. It did give them a little boost on Thursday. So now this movie is not knocking it out of the park from a box office standpoint. It's not flopping either. It's just kind of it's mid,
It's
I guess.
mid, yeah.
You know, but Tuesday, this movie did about $7.5 million domestically, which was almost a 50% jump from Monday. So Monday's when they changed the name of the movie. So it definitely helped. Right now, it sits at right around about 90 million in the U.S. And about 175 million worldwide. The reported budget for the movie was 180, but we know you're going to have to do probably 2 times that to break even, right, with the marketing and all that stuff. But they also had a pretty strong Friday, another 9 million on Friday. So this weekend they're looking to finish somewhere around 35, 40 million, and that would put them right around probably about 130 million
Domestic.
Okay, which is not too bad, right? And then that would also put them, from a worldwide standpoint, they're looking to do about 75 million worldwide. What was that?
So like about 2.25 or something like that.
260, what they're saying, yeah. So not horrible. Now, Captain America: Brave New World, this thing did about 200 million domestically, and then worldwide about 415 total. So
over what period of time?
That movie came out, I think, in February. So about 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah, because it is.
Oh, so we early then.
Yeah.
Into this.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's probably going to be about these numbers a little bit higher.
Sure.
Be a profit for Marvel, definitely. Not, not enough to write home to mom about, as they say, since it's Mother's Day. You know,
Right.
and we didn't say Happy Mother's Day to the best mother in all of comics, Adrian.
Martha.
But anyways.
But which one?
Yeah, it's true. Both of them.
There you go.
Both of them. There you go. Some other Thunderbolts news. So this movie was directed by Jake Schreier. Schreier? I don't even know how to fucking say the guy's name. Okay. But I thought it was directed really well. I thought it was shot well. We talked a lot about what happens in the movie. How'd you like the look and feel of the movie?
I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
I like the look. I like the feel. There was normally some of the things that made and I keep comparing it to those other
Suicide Squad.
Yeah. But there was like a lot of slow moments. It's like, okay, so that shouldn't have happened, kind of a thing. And I didn't see any of that. I didn't experience any of that in this movie.
Right.
So mind you, I'm going in thinking I'm going to watch another Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
And it kind of blew it out the park for me.
Yep.
So I like the cinematography. I even liked the level of comedy that they put in it.
Right. It was a good balance.
I said, it was a good balance. Like I said, it's like it was almost too much, and then they dropped it off and then went on to something else.
Yeah.
Almost too much, then they dropped it off and went on to something else. So all that stuff was pretty cool. And like we went over the characters, the actors, phenomenal job by the entire team. So really surprising. So I pretty much did not like anything about this movie.
Yeah. I thought it was directed really well. One thing I noticed, I actually saw it twice. Me and my wife went, so I went by myself the first day.
Okay.
So now I got 2 viewings under me. One thing I noticed, I paid a lot of attention to the second time, was the beginning, maybe the first act of this movie. I feel like it was directed for this TikTok ADHD audience, because there was a lot of time, like from a dialogue standpoint, they would be mid-sentence talking about something, and then something else would happen. It would cut in, an explosion or this or that. And I just thought it was unique how, like, it kept, like, no conversation ever really got finished.
Right.
Because something cut it off, but it made sense from a story standpoint.
Okay.
It was just something I picked up on it the second time. I'm like, I thought that was, and I feel like as the movie went on, there was less of that.
Right.
So I don't know if that was, this guy's style. And he also has not done a lot from a direct. This is his 3rd movie he's directed.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Robot and Frank in 2012. Never heard of that.
Never heard of
Paper
that.
Towns in 2015.
Never heard of that.
Nope. And then he was an associate producer on Natural Selection in 2011, Magic Valley in 2011. Never heard of that.
Jesus.
Yeah, he did some TV stuff. One episode of Shameless. 6 episodes of a show called Lodge 49. Never heard of that. A show called Kidding. Minx. Did 6 episodes of Beef. And then Star Wars Skeleton Crew. He did 1 episode.
What are the qualifications? Because it's like this guy just, fucking phased in from an alternate universe and made this movie.
Yep.
It's like, what does that interview process look like for him to go through all these unknowns?
Right.
And I'm not saying that I mean, I should have at least heard of one of those shows or movies, and I've heard of none of this.
I got something you may have heard of. So he actually got his start directing music videos. Everyone from My Morning Jacket, The Blue Van, Chance the Rapper,
Nope.
Cashmere Cat,
Nope.
Benny Blanco. You don't know any of these folks. Kanye West, you know him.
Sure.
Yep.
Sure.
Baby Keem, Kendrick Lamar, Selena Gomez, Justin Bieber. So he got his start directing music videos. He's been doing that since 2005. And then I think from there to TV to movies.
Okay, so once again, what is that interview process?
Yeah.
I mean, whatever. It is what it is.
But I mean, if you look at his names, like early in his career, it's more less known names.
Right.
And then you get to the Benny Blancos and the Kanye West later on. So I guess you get your foot in the door, do people
but
like
those
your
are
work.
music videos, though.
True.
As opposed to movies.
Yeah. Well, I guess someone liked those videos so much they gave him a shot, dude.
Hey.
But
good for him.
Hey, it worked out
Right.
because now the reason I tell you all that, Adrian, I always have a plan. Okay, it wasn't just to sit here and glaze Jake. You know, Jake Schreier. Now, here's the thing: if this news is correct, this rumor is correct, I'll learn how to say his name because we're gonna be hearing a lot of it. Mm-hmm. He is rumored to be directing the MCU's future X-Men film.
Nice.
So now, based off what he just did with Thunderbolts, these unknown characters, not I say unknown. Kind of B, C tier level characters, would you say? C. All. I mean, the outside of like Bucky, and he's more known now because of the MCU.
Right. Bucky was a B level at some. Actually, probably like a C level.
Okay.
So like you have like in Marvel, you have like Captain America, you know, Iron Man, you know, Wanda.
Yep.
Those are like Doctor Strange. Those are A's.
Sure.
Then you get like the Hawkeyes, you know, the supporting cast. Those are the B's. And then you get to these unknown. I mean, Bucky was, I won't say he was easy to promote. Well, he was easy to promote because he was like a C level.
Right.
So once you're already on the ground, you can only go up, right?
Sure.
So he was easy to bring up. And also action-wise, he was easy to shoot. Right, as opposed to like an Iron Man, you got the suit, you got the fucking technology, and all this other kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think that's why they were able to get away with such a lower budget for this movie because outside of Sentry, they weren't really super powerful. There wasn't a lot of CGI in this.
No, and Sentry, for the most part, he just stood in the air somewhere, right?
Yep.
Even as the Void, he was just kind of standing there.
Correct.
Moved a little bit, but that's about it.
This goes to show you that with good direction and good story, like you can have a badass movie. Everything doesn't have to be a CGI fest.
No. I mean, like I said, I watched this one movie about this guy. He was like 14,000 years old, and literally the entire shoot was a one-room scene, and they sat around and talked a lot about how this guy could have been and the roles that he played and all this other kind of stuff. Excellent movie.
Right.
Nothing. Just people in a room sitting around talking.
Yeah. They made you care about characters that you didn't give two shits about.
Right.
Like, I actually like U.S. Agent now. I want to see him back.
Yeah.
And at one point, I'm like, I don't even, why the fuck's this guy even on my screen? You know? There's been some glaze about U.S. Agent this past week.
Really?
People are saying he would beat Captain America. He would beat this one and that one. Like,
Interesting, because that... Well, we'll talk about it later.
Oh, snap. Stay tuned, everyone.
See, like you say, it's like we're reading each other's mind,
that's how we do it.
The layup, the great layup.
Absolutely. Another rumor about the X-Men movie is the rumor is that they casted Trinity Bliss. You probably don't recognize her name. 15-year-old actress to play Jubilee. Now, she looks like she can play the part. I don't have a picture of her ready. But she played Tuck in Avatar 2. I haven't seen the second Avatar.
Tuck.
Yeah.
I don't know the names. And also, if she was in an Avatar costume, I wouldn't have recognized any.
True. But I think
because the only male, the only human-looking person in there were the adversaries, the soldiers, and then this kid that was kind of like adopted or something. But outside of that, everybody else was in blue in costume.
Got it. I think the key about this though is the fact that actually, you know what? Here, let me go to the laptop shot. So this is her.
Okay.
Now she looks like Jubilee. She looks like she could pull it off. She looks like Jubilee. She could pull it off. I'm sure with the right hairstyle and the colors or whatnot. Yep. But the thing that I like the most about this Nadia, and I don't know about her acting skills, but I like the fact that she's 15 playing Jubilee.
Right.
So I was at the barbershop earlier, and they're watching Back to the Future, which is a great movie, the first
Yeah.
one. But I'm like, isn't it funny that Michael J. Fox is supposed to be a high school kid in that movie?
Right.
He looks like he's almost 30 years old.
Right.
Not in a bad way, but it's like that's how typically in Hollywood. I mean, Grease is one of the worst offenders. Fucking guys are like 40 years
Right.
old, and I'm a freshman in high school. No, you're not, dude. You're somebody's dad. Go home.
Right. And didn't the guy in the first Superman, the one that played the young Clark Kent, he was actually older than
He was
Christopher Reeves?
fucking older than Christopher Reeves, and he's supposed to play a young Clark Kent. What in the hell are we doing?
Hey.
So, 15-year-old playing Jubilee, who is a teenager.
That works.
Good job.
Right.
You know, now if that's true. But I just like the fact that, Jake Schreier, if that's how you say it, is rumored to be directing this X-Men movie because if it's anything like what he did with Thunderbolts, it's going to be a completely different take on them.
Right.
And I'd love to see that style done. And that's another thing that we heard this past week was that this movie is an example of what Marvel wants to do in the future.
Okay.
They want their movies to be different, have a different feel than in the past where it just felt like they took this Marvel template and go, here, now you make a movie, and then give it back to me, and we give it to him, and they make the same movie.
So what the direction that Marvel wants to go in?
Yeah.
Will at some point we just like fade out Marvel and just substitute Disney? I mean, is that where we're going? I mean, is there someone actually over Marvel?
Yeah. Well,
Since Disney is a Marvel property.
Feige's the president of Marvel Studios, so.
Whatever.
Speaking of Disney, on Disney Plus, Adrian, Ironheart is set to premiere June 24th. So Ironheart series.
Oh, the series.
You wouldn't know because they haven't fucking said it. If I didn't tell you, I had no idea.
It'll just show up on the streaming service one day, right?
Exactly. But I this is another piece of scuttlebutt, Adrian, is that people are saying that there's no marketing for Ironheart. Now, this one I kind of agree with. There hasn't been any.
Right.
Now, also know that you got to market one thing at a time, right? You can't be marketing
Right.
Thunderbolts and then Ironheart. So I think maybe this window was a little too tight. They probably should have, maybe rethought that a little bit. But
Well, at the very least, they could have been promoting it on whatever streaming service they're going to put it on. Because they do have things like I see stuff now about what's the guy he's going to play the crazy superhero with the eagle.
with the eagle.
Yeah, I can't think of his name. John Cena.
Oh, yeah, Peacemaker.
Peacemaker.
Yep.
So that's coming in fucking August.
Right.
And they already
I've seen
promoting
all kinds of shit.
Right,
Yep.
they're already promoting that.
Yep.
So
yeah. So
what's with the clock?
Huh? I was giving you some time, dude. You never know what I have over here,
Right. Adrian.
Well, I missed out. There's plenty of opportunities where you're gathering your thoughts, and I'm like, I should have fucking pressed it. So I can't help myself, So, anyways, but this show is set to premiere June 24th, and Dominique Thorne, who plays Riri Williams, actually said that she spoke to Robert Downey Jr. about this because this is kind of like, her taking his mantle
Right.
of that type of character, right? Now in the comics, these characters are tied together because
Kind of like a Spider-Man mentorship thing.
exactly
Got it.
that storyline is similar to Riri and Tony in the comics in a way. But anyways, this is what she had to say. She said, Robert Downey Jr. and I spoke just after we wrapped, and he shared some very lovely words about my journey. He told me how excited he was and that he was rooting for it too. I literally got 2 thumbs up. It's really reassuring to know that you're not embarrassing Iron Man. So, I mean, I don't think Robert Downey is blowing smoke up her ass. I think he probably would just, if it was bad, probably just wouldn't say anything.
Right.
Versus, so, but hey, it got his cosign for what it's worth.
I think that's cool, dude.
Yeah.
It's like Schwarzenegger passing the torch to The Rock, right?
Yep.
But so it's like a off-screen mentorship about
Yeah.
a role, this particular role, and the journey that Robert Downey Jr. went through playing Iron Man. I think that's cool as hell, dude.
And we don't know a whole lot about Riri in the MCU yet because she was just like a sideline character in Wakanda Forever.
Right.
So we saw a little bit of like she was up in Boston for school and she had like this whole garage where she's building this Iron Man suit or this Ironheart suit or whatnot. But we don't know much about her origin, how she even got there. She's actually from Chicago in the comics. So this is what we know about her from the comics. She's a super genius, of course, right?
Course.
She's from Chicago. She reverse engineered her own Iron Man suit while studying at MIT. And her first appearance was in 2016 in Invincible Iron Man. She's 15-year-old prodigy. Her father was killed in a drive-by, and her best friend and stepfather were later gunned down. So she a lot of tragic losses around her. Built her first suit with scraps. She was inspired by Tony Stark. She eventually got upgraded tech from Tony Stark. And she actually takes on the Ironheart name after Tony falls into a coma post-Civil War II. So he does, I guess, kind of mentor her in the comics, and it's almost like the Hawkeye, Kate Bishop. She became that Iron whatever person for the team or whatnot.
Got it.
She worked with Young Avengers, Shield, the whole deal. So a little different in the MCU, but I wonder how much of that they're gonna keep, like the tragic backstory, father being gunned down from Chicago. So I would imagine this show is probably going to show more of her roots, not her off in college, but we'll see.
Right.
How'd you like what you saw from her in Wakanda Forever?
My lens was so tinted by the sister taking over the Black Panther role that I really didn't even pay attention to her. I mean, I like the little cameo that she got in the garage, and they kind of like launched the suit from there. But outside of that, I couldn't pay attention because I was just distracted by the nonsense of this other bullshit.
Yes. She was created by Brian Michael Bendis. You probably don't recognize the name, do you?
I do not.
Okay, well, I'll tell you some things that he wrote that you definitely recognize some of these. One we just read not too long ago, House of M. So he wrote that whole storyline. He wrote New Avengers from 2005 to 2010. He wrote Secret Invasion back in 2008. The whole Alias line with Jessica Jones, which I've not read that, but I have one of the comics. My dumbass bought. I was like, oh, this looks good, and I bought like volume 3. And you're supposed to start at volume 1 usually.
Well, there's that.
Yeah, so I haven't read it yet. And then he had a Daredevil run from 2001 to 2006. But so talented,
that's
writer.
pretty cool.
Yeah, and he was the one that created this character. So
I mean, if you're writing for more than a couple of years, dude, I mean, you're good.
Yeah, and that's what, dude. I can't wait to go down that Secret Road journey and get your reaction to a lot of this stuff, because speaking of that, Jonathan Hickman wrote these lines, dude, from like 2009, started on Fantastic Four, and Secret Wars came out in 2015. He went from Fantastic Four to then doing the main Avengers line, the new Avengers line, and then Secret Wars. The dude was writing for fucking years, bro.
Right.
But anyways, speaking of Avengers Doomsday, we did learn that Alan Cumming will be back as Nightcrawler when they did the 6-hour chair reveal deal, which that was one. We talk a lot about the Fox X-Men movies where like some of them were great, but they never really nailed the tone. He was one of the highlights of that series.
Absolutely. Correction. None of Fox's X-Men movies were great.
I would agree to disagree. I would say great.
Some were not shitty.
Okay.
But none of them were great.
Well, I would say this. I'm gonna say this. X2,
Yeah.
Days of Future Past, Logan are all great movies.
I would say okay, so Logan.
Or we can take Logan
it was
out of
very
it.
good. Okay.
Okay.
Let's just focus on the X-Men, right?
Yep.
There were great moments in those not shitty movies,
Okay.
but none of them were great.
All right. Well, we're gonna
Like the Alan Cummings cameo.
I thought that movie was great. So y'all let's let the people decide. Adrian, do you side with me or Adrian here? Was there any great X-Men movies? I would say Days of Future Past and X2 were great. X-Men 1 was pretty good. And most of the other ones were dog shit. Or shat, as the kids say. But Alan Cummings will be back. Cumming will be back in Avengers Doomsday. And he may have, spilled the beans a little bit, Adrian.
Uh-oh.
You've heard this, but spilled the beans?
I've heard that.
Yes. Kind of like my son. He tells my wife. So he's like, hey, we're going to go on Sunday and get you flowers for Mother's Day. Like, why the fuck are you telling her?
Right.
Now, she knows that she's going to get, it's like,
Sure.
it's Mother's Day. So, but I wouldn't tell her like 2 days in advance, hey, what kind of flowers you want me to get them on Sunday? It's just a surprise. Like, but my son, you can't do it. I said, you're an op, bro. You can't do shit around you. I love you, but fuck, man, you just tell on us. Anyways, moving on.
Alan Cumming.
So he spilled the beans, or maybe he's fucking with us. But they asked him about playing Nightcrawler again, and he said, "I'm right now. I'm doing it. I'm playing Nightcrawler, and I was learning stunts yesterday for some fight scene. I'm sort of learning these fights, and I'm like, wait, who am I fighting with?" And they're like, "You're hitting Pedro Pascal against the head. I can't believe that." Which, if this is true, then we're gonna have a Nightcrawler,
X-Men,
Mr. Fantastic fight.
Right. Nice.
Yeah. So now this isn't verses, but maybe we'll make it mini verses, right? Nightcrawler, Mr. Fantastic. Who wins that?
Nightcrawler versus Mr. Fantastic. I would say Nightcrawler.
Yeah.
Because Nightcrawler, he doesn't teleport in the sense that he dematerializes and rematerializes, right? In a different spot. He opens up a gateway, a door to a dimension, slips into that, and then exits it.
Okay.
So theoretically, the easiest thing that he could do is drop Reed off in between. Or he can just teleport next to him, put a bomb next to him, and that'll be that. Now, obviously, the bomb has to be of some significant magnitude, or something that can destabilize his unstable molecules, which is basically what Reed is.
Right.
He's a bunch of unstable molecules stabilized by some kind of inherent force field.
Got it. Because he's not like super strong or anything. It's literally just this.
Well, the elasticity gives him some above average strength.
Yeah.
In the elasticity itself. Not like he's not going to bench press 800 pounds like a super soldier serum thing. So he's not strong like that. A silverback would definitely take him out under normal conditions, right?
Like a hit to the head is still going to do some damage.
To Reed now, because he's like, I guess at this level, he is subconsciously will deflect any kind of impact. Yeah. He'll like smush his face.
Does he have to know it's coming?
No. It's like Doom or Magneto. They always have these, like Magneto has this electromagnetic condom on him on his body at all times.
Yep.
Doom has his shield up all the time. It's like a low level. And they also have circuitry where, at least in Doom's situation, if anything comes within the vicinity of him that supersedes that low level, it'll automatically kick into a higher level kind of a thing.
Got it. So here's what chat says. It says that in a raw fight, Nightcrawler probably overwhelms Reed early with speed, teleports behind him, and knocks him out before Reed can react. With prep, if Reed has 5 minutes in a lab, he's building a BAMF tracker and teleportation inhibitor. But
that's not happening.
Yeah,
we're talking the street corner thing.
Yep. Yeah, so you mentioned about Nightcrawler's teleportation. He instantly bamfs, whatever the fuck that means.
Well,
up to 2 miles.
That's the noise that he makes basically when he opens and shuts, when he opens the door to the dimension that he goes through.
Got it.
It's also accompanied by like a smell.
Yeah. Okay.
I forget what the smell.
Sulfuric puff he leaves behind, which is that purple and which looks fucking cool as shit. Yeah. Which not say normally like teleportation is really a thing. Well, actually, they have fucking actually teleported some shit. So that's other stuff.
Teleportation doesn't exist, but teleportation, yes.
That too. Yeah, both of them. But normally teleportation is like the molecules break down and then reassemble.
Basically, yes.
Like I actually listened to Elon Musk talk about it, and he's like, it's basically like you die, and then you're like a new version of you is created somewhere else.
Yes. Unlike, so when people when they say stupid things like, well, it's like photocopying you. No, it's not photocopying you. Because with a photocopy, you have, once you're done, you have the original and a duplicate. Teleportation is you break down, and we talked about phase shifting and things being out of phase and, and other stuff, ghosts and things like that. Do you believe in ghosts? A ghost to me is basically anything that's out of phase, which we can't experience with our senses, right?
Right.
And teleportation is kind of like that to me. You break down, you destabilize your molecules, and then you transport them. You move them to a different location. Then you reassemble them in the proper order.
Got it.
That's not photocopying.
Right. And now there actually has been some quantum teleportation. Like I think the furthest one was in 2017. It teleported some fucking molecules from Earth to a satellite 300 miles away. Just crazy. It's insane to think that. We probably won't be alive the day when they can teleport a person, but
Prove it.
prove it.
So I gotta say, you teleport a fucking molecule.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike. Yeah, I built this fucking unicorn in my basement.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I believe you.
Exactly.
So you're saying this is bullshit? You don't believe they teleported some scientists?
I don't care.
That's other stuff. We do that on other stuff. So
don't, dude.
anyway, but yeah. So I also agree. Nightcrawler would probably smack the shit out of Reed.
Yeah.
You know, he would just overwhelm him. And Reed's not a fighter. He ain't no like trained fighter. He's brains.
Well, I mean, he has, because of all the fights that he has been in.
Yeah,
he's
got experience.
Yeah, he's got experience, but he's not a Captain America or some shit like that.
Right. Okay. Last but not least, I actually have some DC news, Adrian. And
Really?
yeah. And
DC still alive?
Yeah, they are. They're hanging on by a strand, dude.
Wow. The new Avengers reveal from Thunderbolt is more exciting than that DC fucking logo thing.
Yep. So originally, earlier in the week, it was announced that the Batman 2 was being canceled. Okay. Then there was a rumor that they were going to proceed without Matt Reeves, which was it was some mix up because I guess they put out production reports for movies, maybe weekly, monthly, or something. And one that went out didn't have Matt Reeves' name on it. But then somebody pointed out, like, one from like 2 years ago didn't have his name on it either. So it's not, it was probably just an oversight. So that was no new news. But the actual rumor was that we may get a DCU Batman before the Batman 2. So this movie, dude, we had some reports or some rumors that Matt Reeves was dealing with some personal issues, which is why they weren't moving forward. Hopefully that's not the case, but whatever the hell's going on, it sounds like this movie is in limbo. And the rumor is that we're going to see a Batman in the DCU before that movie even happens. And then they're even alluding to some type of world's finest movie, which would be like a Batman-Superman team-up. Which, how do you feel about that?
They've already had a Batman-Superman team-up.
Well,
it failed.
Yes, that part, yeah. And that's kind of like what a lot of the comments were like, are they just redoing the DCEU again? Are they going that, like, you're starting with a Superman movie and then you're going to go right to Superman and Batman together? Like, that didn't work the first time.
This is called staying relevant.
Yes.
They just throwing some, they throwing dirty drawers up against the wall and just seeing what sticks. They're not even doing it to see what sticks. They just want to get the reactions from people. They're putting bullshit out so they can stay in the news, so they can stay relevant because they're not doing anything.
Right. And I hate to say it, well, all this, where there's smoke, there's fire. If I was betting on it, I don't know that we're gonna get a Batman 2.
And the thing about it is that there's so many DC characters. Why is everything hinged on Matt Reeves? You should have 3 or 4 other movies outside. What about a Teen Titans movie? What about an Apocalypse movie?
Right.
You should have a Secret Wars, do a live action Infinity Crisis.
Yep.
I mean, you got so much other stuff, and you hinging this whole thing on one director, right? And we were talking earlier. It's like you have many directors. You have many in comics. You have many artists. You have many writers. You have many colorists. You have many proofreaders. All this shit. So everything is based off of one director. Right. Nah, dude, you ain't got nothing going on.
No.
McDonald's has no. Burger King has no Impossible Burger.
All right, I don't know how to take that, but hopefully they don't have balls in the lettuce either. So
they definitely don't have balls in the lettuce.
Cool. All right, well, that is the news. That is the rumors. And to wrap this up with a little thumbs up, thumbs down. Are you ready, Adrian?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Number 1, Marvel had the balls to do it, Adrian. They changed the name of the Thunderbolts to New Avengers, and it gave the movie a little boost at the box office last week. So I'm going to give that a thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Thunderbolts director Jake Schreier maybe that's how you say his name,
Maybe.
is rumored to be directing the MCU's future X-Men film. I give this a thumbs up.
Sure, thumbs up.
He knocked out of the park with Thunderbolts, so give him a shot, you know?
There you go.
And you really can't get much worse than the last few X-Men movies, so there's that.
There's that.
Ironheart set to premiere on Disney Plus June 24th. Dominique Thorne, who plays Riri Williams, says Robert Downey Jr. gave her 2 thumbs up. Well, he gave her this.
Yeah.
I give that a thumbs up.
Thumbs up. And I bet after this show, they're going to start promoting the series.
Guarantee you watch this show, and then the next fucking day you're going to see Ironheart trailer.
There you go.
You watch. Nightcrawler might be fighting Mr. Fantastic himself in Avengers Doomsday, according to Alan Cumming. He may have spilled the beans, Adrian. But I give that a thumbs up. I'd like to see that on screen.
Sure. Thumbs up.
I mean, that would be a cool fight to see on screen with the teleportation.
Right.
Reed's weird fucking... dude, that shit looks weird in comics.
Yeah.
We're going to just have to brace ourselves. It's probably going to look weird on screen.
Yeah. Even though in the movies, it looks like Reed has... It's like when he stretched, that scene when he was stretching.
Yep.
It's like he stretched, but his boots stayed open. Looks like he had on white cowboy boots or something.
He had those socks like in baseball. And last but not least, we're rumored to be getting a DCU Batman before the Batman 2. I just give this whole fucking mess a thumbs down.
Exactly.
Dude.
Thumbs down, dude.
It's a shame. I don't think we're gonna get the Batman 2, and if we do, it's not gonna be for a long time,
right.
Which makes me nervous. And we may even get that without Matt Reeves directing, which I don't know that I even want to see. To be as much as I'm a Batman guy, it's like I really wanted. It was almost too good to be true for me. That movie was fucking awesome. I love the feel of it, and I was hoping to get a trilogy, but you don't always get what you want, Adrian.
Hey, just DC move out of the live action space. Marvel is dominating right now. Go and do some series and some animations, and maybe you can make some money that way.
Yep. So anyway, we are going to get into something a little different this week, Adrian. I have some I got some comic book panels here. Okay, so let me brace with me for 1 second. In my old age, I'm not going to be able to read it off this little screen. I'm going to pull it up elsewhere. Yes, my cataracts, Adrian, are getting
cataracts.
Yes. So now let's back up a little bit. We talked about this earlier. You've not read Secret Wars. You read Secret Wars. You have not read Civil War in the comics. You've obviously seen the movie.
Right.
And I'm kind of going, I've read this in the past. I'm going back through it. And I just wanted to pull out a few different, I call them scenes, panels, whatever, little hints and I wanted you to see these and react. So, in the comic books, Civil War it's similar to the movie version. Mind you, there'll be some light spoilers here if you've not read this comic that came out like 20 years ago.
Right.
In the comics, Civil War begins with a reality TV show about superheroes.
Okay.
They're going around trying to fight supervillains. They show up at this house in Stamford, Connecticut, of all places.
Of course.
And one of the, I forget the guy's name, Firestar or something. It's either like these like D-level characters on a stupid reality show. He uses his powers, and basically his powers are like a fucking nuclear bomb. Blows up this entire house, and there's like, other families' homes around, and literally kills a bunch of people, innocent, whatever. So it's a big issue, right?
Right.
This leads to superhero registration, just like in the movies, right?
Right. When Wanda blew up
like Sokovia Accord type stuff. Iron Man's behind it. Spider-Man's on his side in the beginning. Spider-Man actually reveals his secret identity to the world, because that was the superhero registration was like, if you're a superhero, you need to come to us, sign this registration deal, tell us your secret identity. We'll keep it safe, but you need to be registered with the government, and you only operate like if we tell you what to do type shit.
Yeah.
Sounds great, right?
Not at all.
Just like in the movies, your boy Cap, Steve Rogers, he opposed this, right? We see there's some good fights there, but I wanted to bring this up because you're a big Tony Stark guy, big tech guy, right? So if you go to the laptop shop, all right, so this is after these two part ways. Spider-Man and Iron Man are fighting. So you see Spider-Man jumps on him.
Right.
And he completely misses. You got strike one, right? How do you do that? Strike two. Now, you kind of shocked that Iron Man's over here dodging Spider-Man, right?
Yep.
And that's even Spider-Man says that. So let me go to the next one here. So there you go. He's strike 3, and he's kind of like, how the fuck's he doing this? This is the one I wanted you to see. He explains it. It was pretty cool. So what he says is, I isolated the frequencies of Spider-Man's Spidey sense, reverse engineered those to his suit. So he basically created his own spider sense.
Right.
In his suit.
Or anti-spider sense.
Anti-spider sense. And then he also, through this, figured out a way. Actually, let me go back here. To trick Spider-Man so he can fuck with his spider sense. Make him think that he's behind him when he's not. So then he can come on the other side and fucking attack him. So pretty cool shit.
Yeah.
From Iron Man.
Yeah.
So I just want to show you that because I know you're an Iron Man guy. Now go to this next one here. What do you got going on here, Adrian? You got Namor. Right. You got Susan Storm. Dude, so in this comic, you also see Sue Storm and Stu Richards and Reed Richards are at odds. Right. Because they disagree over this. Yep. Yo, Reed is
over what?
Over the Superhero Registration Act. Reed's on Tony's side.
Got it.
So Reed's like glazing Tony too. Sue even says like he worships Tony. He'll do whatever Tony says. He wants to impress Tony Stark. Right? Do you remember that from like any other comics? You ever got that vibe from them?
No.
No. Okay. But that's where he's at here. And what Tony and his crew are doing, and Reed, when they capture these, they're criminals. Once the Registration Act went live, anyone who didn't sign was a criminal, just like in the movie. The only difference here, they weren't locking them up in the raft. They were fucking locking them up in a jail in the negative zone, which Cap found out and lost his shit, right? So, anyways, you got fucking Sue and Namor here. Dude, here's my question, though. Go to this shot, bro. Why he gotta be wearing all this? He got Namor.
and look at the fourth one, right?
Yeah,
like he's got his Johnson all out and shit. Right. Namor, he's like a slim, thick kind of guy. Yeah, right? Very muscular. Yep. But he's just coming up to Sue, dick first.
Yep. And he even mentions about a little relationship they have that she tried to deny, and then he says something about your lips say otherwise. Like, yo, he's getting freaky up in there.
And that's what Namor does,
man. Absolutely. All right. Now, dude, the other thing about Civil War is that it has a lot of these kind of like sideline stories that tie into it, right? So when Marvel does an event, a lot of times every comic story or every book that's in production at that time now becomes part of that event. So like you'll see a Black Panther comic that is now part of Civil War while it's going on. You'll see a Captain America one, same thing. So they stopped the mainline Cap story. They don't stop it, but now it becomes part of Civil War, right? Civil War had its own like mainline comics, and it has all these to go along with it. Read them if you want. It kind of adds. It's almost like watching the Disney Plus shows. They add to the movies, but if you don't watch it, you still can watch the movies. Got it. So there's a Captain America Punisher one. Punisher's in this, and it's cool because what we just saw with Punisher and Daredevil kind of mimics the relationship Cap and Punisher have in the comics too. Because Cap don't get down with that type of killing either.
Right.
So if you go to the panel here, you got Cap actually decides to take Punisher, add him to their team because I think he saves Spider-Man. Spider-Man gets all fucked up and Punisher actually saves him. And then they go on, it goes wrong. Adrian, check this out. So believe it or not, Punisher lied. He said he was going to use non-lethal weapons, and he killed a couple people.
Sure.
Yeah, and his justification was, well, they're bad guys, but they were on Cap's side.
Got it.
So Cap lost his shit, dude. He fucked him up. And Punisher didn't fight back, though. So he had so much respect for Cap that he wouldn't even fucking fight back.
Wow.
Yeah. So I just wanted to look at the artwork on this.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Right? And dude, Cap's a badass. I think we lose sight of that a lot of times because, like, at least for me, a lot of times I throw him in that same kind of category as like Cyclops. Like the Boy Scout.
The Boy Scout, yeah.
But he's pretty much a badass.
Yeah, he is.
All right, and then
that artwork is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's great, dude. It's great. So let's go the last one here, dude. Speaking of Black Panther. All right, so see what I'm saying? This is a Black Panther comic, but it takes place like within Civil War.
Right.
So initially, this registration law had only jurisdiction. Well, it was only about the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
So both sides wanted T'Challa to be on their side because look what he brings to the table, right? And at first, his stance was, "I'm staying out of this" type shit. And then at some point, he goes to the White House to meet with Tony. He brings his wife with Storm with him. Mm-hmm. And then check this out, dude. They go to the White House, and upon entering, they try to pull one over on Storm. They like hand her some documents. Hey, like, before you meet, you just have to sign these. And it was the Registration Act. And she's like, fuck that, I'm not signing that. So she loses her shit. You know, all things go to hell. They end up leaving. Tony wasn't even there. But why I wanted to show you this was riot breaks out. T'Challa tries to kind of like calm him down. And then fucking Storm strikes a bolt of lightning to fuck everybody up. So they're fighting outside the White House. Rhodey is in a Sentinel suit at this point for some reason. And he is trying to protect this crowd of people who's protesting, and he's trying to arrest Storm and T'Challa. He gets all fucked up by these two Wakandans. It's kind of like the movie. You remember when Rhodey's flying up and then Vision takes him out by mistake, and that's where he ends up paralyzed? So you can kind of see here where the protesters are fucking attacking his ass, and T'Challa actually saves him, even though he was trying to take down T'Challa. But really why I wanted to show you this is we talk a lot about Black Panther and how awesome he is and how he can stand toe-to-toe with a lot of people. He takes out Iron Man with one swipe here, dude. So they're fighting or whatnot. He's going after Storm. Fucking T'Challa threatens. He put this kind of like weird samurai-type suit on. But he hits him with this sword, dude. One swipe takes out his whole power. And it was a, what do you say it was? It was the Ebony Blade. You ever heard about this in the comics?
No.
So, dude, it cuts through fucking anything. One swipe knocks Iron Man's power out, drops him to the floor. But it just goes to show you, dude, fucking T'Challa's a badass, right? And then, but here's the part I like is towards the end, Iron Man's on some, like, you shouldn't be here type shit. Like, we got some stuff going on, this war right now. Like, go back to where you're from. And T'Challa basically tells him that I ain't going anywhere. Like, y'all need some help. This shit's all fucked up. Now, I'm paraphrasing.
Right.
But in a nutshell, like, I'm here to fix this because you guys can't, and I ain't going anywhere, and you can't do shit about it. But it just goes to show you, dude, like, how badass T'Challa is as a character, and how the biggest thing that bothers me about this phase right now, where we're going into Doomsday, Secret Wars, and all that shit, is we don't have a T'Challa in the MCU.
Right. Because you're missing so much. First of all, he's so much more richer than Tony Stark.
Right.
He doesn't have Tony Stark's mind, but he has access to his sister,
correct,
which pretty much is Tony Stark's mind.
Yeah.
Right. So, his suit is he's a minimalist with his suit. He doesn't carry around a bunch of shit like Batman. But the tools that he does carry around uses the vibranium technology, and it allows him to do so much more stuff, right?
Right.
So besides the fact that he's the king of an entire nation, it's just so many resources all in one spot, in one person, and to just have that missing from where we're going is a travesty, to be honest.
Absolutely. And the whole Namor thing, dude, like, even before this, and we'll see a lot of this when we take this road to Secret Wars, where it's the Atlanteans versus the Wakandans. It's Namor versus Black Panther. These two go to toe a lot.
Yeah.
They're like best friends and bitter enemies.
Right.
They have a really unique relationship, which you're not going to see with, Shuri and Namor. It's just a different dynamic.
What I don't like, the way the second Black Panther ended was basically Namor saying that, once again, black people have resources and we're just going to use them to take it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like a fuck you, in this movie to me. So that's just another layer of thing that pissed me off about this movie, besides the fact that, he didn't get recast.
Right.
So it's just a bunch of weirdness going on. But again, there's so much missing. Now, Shuri as Black Panther is one thing.
Yeah.
But having a Black Panther with Shuri as a backup on the tech side is something a completely different dynamic.
Yeah.
Because then if you have T'Challa, then you also can bring in the Storm element, which brings in the X-Men element. So it's so much more dynamic with a T'Challa type figure in this than without.
I'll say they have to. They don't have to listen to me, but they do listen. So I think they have to. So let's say they don't do it for Secret Wars. Like I think we'll see some type of T'Challa in Secret Wars.
Okay.
Right. I don't know. It's not going to be a Earth 616 T'Challa, but if we got all these different, universes, we'll see something. But after Secret Wars, with the mutants being it's going to be the mutant saga. I'm assuming there'll be a Storm. I really fucking hope there's a T'Challa, and we see, because we've seen so much of Storm with the X-Men. That's great, but there's a whole nother story of her. Huh?
Not really.
No. Well, I mean, in other things. Oh no, not fucking Halle Berry. Right. No. But like in X-Men '97, in the but one thing we've not seen in any animation or on screen is Storm in Wakanda. Storm with T'Challa. Storm being the queen of Wakanda. Right. So I really hope we get to see that in the Mutant Saga. All right, well, that's some Civil War stuff. So we're gonna do more of that. Let us know how you feel. Let us know if you've read these moments, if any of them stood out to you. I really like in the Hickman run, there is a lot of Namor and Black Panther back and forth because they're both part of the Illuminati. So they have to kind of work with each other, but their countries are still at odds. Right. And the Illuminati is a secret thing that not everybody in their country. So they're both kind of playing both sides. Like, all the Wakandans don't know that T'Challa is secretly meeting with Namor to deal with these other issues when you have the Atlanteans and the Wakandans fighting. Right. It's it's kind of what happens in real life, right? Countries that are odds, the two calling the shots are probably sitting back drinking fucking whiskey together. What do I know, Adrian?
It's all a show, man. Just a show.
That part, yeah. Just like us, we're a show. So you can support the show. You can subscribe. You can go to onlycomicsmerch.com. We also got some new T-shirt designs coming. I showed you a couple today. So we're going to test those out. So hopefully those will be here next week. We got a bunch of comics on sale. We're going to have more. And we're going to create this guide, this Secret Wars guide that's going to map this thing out. And I'm going to do, we're going to figure out a way to present that as a package too. Okay. And put those for sale for anyone that's interested. Anyways, it basically means I got a lot of work to do, Adrian. So
sounds like it.
Yes, it does. So let's keep this thing moving. Last of Us, Season 2, Episode 4. This episode was interesting. It really is starting to look. It looks like Ellie and Dina are fucked.
It does. It does.
Which is kind of the theme of the last. Even through the first season, like Joel and Ellie, they would get 2 steps ahead and like, oh shit, another fucking thing's happening. Yeah. So, before we break down, what would you give this episode for a score?
7.
7. Yeah, I think that's fair. 7.5. It wasn't horrible. It wasn't the best episode. It was a necessary episode to move the story along. Sure. And it's almost like I think a lot of people are still, I don't want to say recovering, but like that Joel moment was so big. Yeah. You almost got to buffer that before anything big happens again. Like we're still feeling the impacts of that, Even in some of like the episode prior to this when she first comes back to the house and she feels his clothes and all these things and he's not there. Like, that's what I like about this show is there's a lot that happens, but they know when to slow it down and tell a story. I think the big reveal here was when Ellie got bit. Right. And Dina was like...
about to take her out.
It's about to take her out, but it was such a good moment because she's torn. Couple things. She's thinking Ellie sacrificed herself for Dina, right? So part of her is like, oh my God, that's insane, right? Like someone did that for me. But also now she's bit and now I have to kill her. Right. Fucked up spot to be in.
It is.
But then Ellie's like in a panic, talks her out of it, and now she has to. And even now Ellie's in a messed up spot too because the last thing she wants to do is tell anyone that she's immune.
The fuck not? She screamed at the top of her lungs in the first one.
Well, she was having a moment but outside of that moment, for the most part,
I'm still pissed off about that. It's like you gonna anyway.
Yeah, as a teenager, dude, rebelling, you know. But right now,
is she 80 years old playing a teenager too?
Yes. But she wants to keep that under wraps, especially where they're going with Fedra, these groups. Like, we saw what happened last time. They knew she was immune. They wanted to kill her. Not wanted to kill her, but they wanted to extract this fucking immunity out of her.
Right. And in order to do that would probably kill her.
Correct. To take out chunks of their head.
Right.
So people don't usually do well after that.
No.
No. You ever seen Hannibal when he lobotomizes the guy at the
Yeah.
table?
Fava beans?
Yes. That's a great scene. So she didn't want any of that to happen, you know? So she's in a tough spot, too, because now I have to tell Dina, which maybe that's not a big deal, but that's just one more person that now knows this.
Right.
It's information out there that is only going to hurt Ellie. Right? Like, or could potentially hurt Ellie. So I thought that was cool. That was a nice little moment.
Sure.
The subway scene, all that, it looked cool. It was nice. They do a good job of building that just tenseness with the infected, because it's always like they're right there, dude.
Right.
What about you? What'd you like or not like about this episode?
I mean, it was a mid episode. Like I said, it was probably necessary, not knowing where this thing is going to go, right? Dina revealing that she's pregnant now. They're going to have this one big family kind of a deal. So now they got to also overcome that.
Hold on, time out, though. I get all that, but the one thing that fucking annoyed me was Ellie, I'm going to be a dad now.
Right.
No, I don't.
No,
you're going to be another mom now. Happy Mother's Day to both of you. Okay, so anyway, sorry.
It's amazing how that switches, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, and then that's assuming that the dude, because also you got the feelings between Dina and the father,
Jesse,
right?
Yeah.
So you don't know what's going to happen with that dynamic, because Ellie might get pushed out depending on what Dina decides to do with that situation. Assuming they ever even make it out of this fucking town.
True.
Which is a whole lot of possibility not happening. Right.
Dude, these soldiers are deep.
Yep.
There's a fucking lot of them in Seattle.
Yep.
And they're in over their heads.
Well, the good part about it is that now nobody knows that they're there.
Right.
Because because the ones that were chasing them got taken out by the infected.
Yep. But even that, if there's that many that could go just chase these two,
right?
How many are actually in Seattle?
Yep. Because we never saw the end of that. So they had 2 tanks and some other shit going on, and then like a long line of armed soldiers, and we never saw the end of that line. So we don't know how many people's there.
Yep. Then you had the guy Isaac, dude, was torturing this guy.
So you see his intro?
Yes.
Like, he just took out 2 grenades, threw them in there, locked them in there.
Yep.
That was crazy.
That was. And that's your boy Jeffrey Wright from Speaking of the Batman. Much better as Isaac than he was as Jim Gordon.
Yes.
We'll say that.
He was also in
Westworld.
Westworld, which is pretty cool too.
Dude, I love the first season.
I'm the same way. I couldn't even watch it after that.
The second one was like, I gave it a shot because I'm like, it was very mid throughout. And then the third was, it had a couple really good episodes. It was all over the place.
I didn't even get past the second.
I think the third was a little better than the second, but it got way. They started here and ended up way to fuck over here, which I mean, for people that like that shit, have at it. But I didn't. It was very futuristic. It's just way too much. I like that grounded. That first episode, I mean, that first season was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Because you didn't know what the fuck was going on for most of it. And then at the end, you realize that, like, you didn't know it was an amusement park and all that shit. You just think these people are fucking crazy. What the hell's going on? But anyway, what's that have to do with this? Nothing. Just the fact that Jeffrey Wright plays Isaac. Yeah, then he interrogates the fucking naked guy and like, holy shit, dude. I thought he was gonna put the pan on his balls or something.
Something like that. Yeah. Or some other surface other than his hand.
Right.
I mean, I guess he tried to give him an easier way out, as opposed to like sticking it on his face or his chest or his balls.
Right. And this dude rather would be tortured than give up
the
location of his guy.
Yep.
And then he got killed.
Yep. There's that.
Or unalived, as they say, Adrian.
Who's the chick that they worship? Have they showed her? As somebody? No.
Nope. Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Some weird religion or something. Who the hell knows? And then towards the end, they overhear on these walkie-talkies where Nora is, who is a friend of Abby. She's at this hospital, and Ellie kind of wants Dina to stay back, and Dina's like, fuck that, I'm coming. So And that's some stuff that's changed from the game too. Like I know in the game, Ellie is not as ecstatic that she's pregnant, and I think she even says to her, "You're a burden now," because like we're on this mission to take care of these fucking people, and now you're over here with child. Shit.
Well, it's not like she knew before they started.
True. Yeah, it's not her fault, but yeah, I mean, I think this episode was. I don't want to say it was a down. It was a little bit of a low, but obviously it moved the story forward a little bit. And I think this thing's gonna end with a shit show.
Probably.
So anyways.
Put the guitar back in the case.
Right. Yeah, we got that moment. So that's a cool moment from the game where in the game, Joel teaches you how to play the guitar and then you play it later on for dinner.
Another memory, shared memory.
Right. All the mushy gushy, Adrian.
Shit.
Speaking of mushy gushy, we're gonna do a little We Respond, which sometimes is mushy, sometimes it's not. You never know. I mean. So Adrian, I'm gonna warn you. I've not. Now I read the comments throughout the week and respond to a handful, but I did not prepare for this. We're gonna just pull them up right here on the spot. So let's go. We're gonna start with our interns. Shout out to the Legion of Interns. So what is an intern? They are a member of our monthly membership. And what that gets you is for the for all of $4.99 a month, Adrian, you get a whole nother podcast called Other Stuff. And this is where we get into we're also called the Conspiracy Bros, Adrian.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's where we get into those conspiracies. We have things like Hidden Turds. We had one last. I don't know if that name's going to stick, but it's a placeholder.
Yeah, work in progress.
Put the asterisk next to it like Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
It's Hidden Turd asterisk. So we talked about John D. Rockefeller and all that shit.
So if we transition from Hidden Turd, do we like punch into the pile of turd to reveal the other thing?
Yes,
yeah, sure.
absolutely. Yes. So anyways, that drops every Wednesday, so you can sign up. The link's in the description or on the YouTube main page. And it's a lot of fun. No ads on that show. And you get, we definitely get those comments first. We appreciate everybody, especially the interns. So let's start with my boy OG Dirte. So he says, "What's up, Mike and Adrian? They changed Thunderbolts to..." Yes, they did. I think they're going to do that anyways. I agree with you about the movies. They should show a trailer of a movie and be like, out now. Like, that'd be awesome. We were talking about that last week.
Yeah.
Like, just fucking surprise everybody. I mean, I don't know if they're there, but seeing what they did with this title means that they're thinking of some like new marketing approaches, which will be cool to see. So he asked about the headlines. Disney confirms Marvel Rivals is a success thanks to comic accurate fan service. I definitely think that's a lot of it. We talked about Jake already. Oh, so Spider-Man Brand New Day is rumored to have a new Aunt May for some reason. So who the hell knows what's happening there? But forget about that part. That movie comes out July 25th of next year, which is after Doomsday but before Secret Wars.
Okay.
So depending on the timeline there, it may be something where that movie takes place at the same time as Doomsday, and maybe towards the end, Spider-Man ends up in Battleworld. There was also a rumor of that movie taking place in Battleworld entirely, so who the hell knows?
I don't know. And this is one of those things where it's like when you kill off Tony Stark, right? So why did you kill off Aunt May? I mean, she's always ever present in these things.
Correct.
Weirdness.
It's because there was no Uncle Ben to kill off, dude,
I guess.
Yep. So, damn, can't wish her a happy Mother's Day, Another thing he mentioned, I did read this, Charlie Cox was not a fan of the Ms. Marvel episode of Daredevil, the bank heist one. He actually pushed back against that. They still did it anyways, but he felt like it didn't fit. And I remember when we reviewed it, I remember thinking it was a good episode, but it did feel out of place.
Wait a minute, what are we talking about?
In Daredevil Born Again, the episode with the bank, Ms. Marvel's dad, and the bank robbers, the Irish guys.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And he pushed back because he felt like it didn't fit the rest of the story. Which I think we all felt that too.
Yeah.
It wasn't a bad episode. It just felt very out of place.
Yep.
And he says, congrats on the 2 years. Yeah, well, thank you. DadBod365, congrats on the 2 years. I wish we could share pics on here. I came across a Facebook that had the Big Show and someone in a gorilla suit raising their hand. And the caption read, "Me and the gorilla after I turned heel and helped him take out 99 other men." That is definitely typical Big Show behavior. Maple Grove, congrats on 2 years. I love Thunderbolts, the first MCU movie in a bit that made me very excited for what's coming in the universe. Absolutely. Jay shot at another fire episode. Keep it up, my dogs. My question this week is, what do you guys think of the lack of marketing for Ironheart? It's rumored Mephisto is making an appearance, which could only mean Ghost Rider in the future. Great hidden gem if Adrian hasn't done one already. You did a Ghost Rider hidden gem at one point.
Is he talking about Ghost Rider or Mephisto?
I'm not sure. You haven't done Mephisto.
I have not done Mephisto. Okay. Have done Ghost Rider.
Got it. And then he lists his top 5 post-Endgame movies, with 5 being Far From Home, 4 being Shang-Chi, 3 being Guardians 3, 2 being Deadpool, Wolverine, and 1 being No Way Home. It's a good list. I think you should put Thunderbolts on there, but that's just my personal opinion, you know. Skeletor, Triple X. Whoa, getting naughty. Is this Diddy from jail? He's commenting? Shit. Happy 2-year anniversary. It's funny, I don't see the show until Tuesday. Oh, yeah, he's overseas. You talk about a change called Thunderbolts, and shortly after, Marvel makes it public. Proof once again that Big Kev is listening. Greetings from Germany. Skeletor is over there in Germany. You guys have some good beer, dude, Germans. Heffenweisen, you know, some good shit. Okay. Anyways, Pure Venom, congratulations on 2 years of the podcast. Glad I found you guys. Keep them coming. We ain't going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. You going anywhere, Adrian?
Not planning to.
Not planning. Yeah. I mean, if we get fucking, I don't know, other stuff may get us kidnapped and you know, abducted, dude. Right. If I get abducted, I'm gonna try to film that shit. You know, just hopefully.
There you go.
Why do abductions stories always end with anal probes? Why?
I'm assuming that's the common way for them to test you internally.
Okay.
Between men and females, right?
Or maybe people are just doing that and blaming it on it could be that, you know.
Or that.
Anyways, the Captain Canada, another week, another banger. That's a good t-shirt that he just spits out t-shirt phrases, you know. Anyways, Star Wars movies ranked. He had Empire Strikes as number 1 as well. Revenge of the Sith, Rogue One. Wow, you glazing Revenge of the Sith too, Captain Canada. The Force Awakens, Attack of the Clones, and last but not least was Solo. So Thunderbolts was phenomenal. Really had a great time seeing it. Yes, future is bright for us Marvel fans. I agree. Loved episode 3 of Last of Us. They're getting better and better. Ellie is coming. And we just talked about episode 4. So, yep. He got his X-Men classic hat from superherostuff.com. They're awesome. They need to pay you guys for using their collection. You know, you said a lot of good shit today, Captain Canada, but that's the best fucking statement that anyone said today.
Right?
They need to. Dude, we sell them. That's why I'm wearing a Yankee hat today, because I haven't got a fucking check yet. So,
there you go.
Anyways, you can go live on YouTube for sure. Maybe make a poll. Yeah, we do. Guys, let us know. Actually, I will put out a poll. We do want to do some live. We talked about this yesterday a little bit, whether it's YouTube, TikTok, a mixture of. But we'd love to go live and interact with you guys and just, you know, bullshit. Cheers to 2 years. What a milestone. It is a milestone. We work a lot, take things light, but we're doing this for 2 fucking years, dude.
Right.
Not a bad program. Eat Beef Yummy. I like that name. They've already changed the name to New Avengers. Good call. Yeah, dude. Now, Eat Beef Yummy, I don't know how long you've been a subscriber, but I had a moniker here in the past, Adrian. He who was right. You remember this?
I remember.
Yes, because I was wrong maybe once. I don't know.
Maybe.
Possibly. Lexi Lang says...
And you could have been wrong about being wrong.
There you go, which makes me right.
Exactly.
Yes. In case you want to mention it now, I'm an intern. Yes, you are. Oh, Lei Xiang. Lei Xiang. Lei Xiang. That's how you say his name. I'm as in bong. Okay. It's my Chinese name from when I studied Mandarin in the Air Force. Got it. Or you can use Darkest Spectre since they've been my gamer tag. Okay. Congratulations on 2 years. I'll try to not keep this from being too long. He saw Thunderbolts. He agrees with us. He's a smart fellow. Wow, you have a lot here. Let's see. Superman trailer again before the movie. I want to talk. I'm worried about the Superman movie. Then I watch the trailer and I compare it in my head to Man of Steel. Honestly, I feel like the new Superman is too similar with just a shittier Superman with a shittier suit. Why in the fuck does Superman suit have shoulder pads?
I said that when I first saw the poster, dude. It looks like he's putting on a balloon suit or something.
He says return to the red underwear thing was a mistake. Okay. But come on, man, what is going on? In the Gunn version, he swoops to saving the little girl from exploding pipes. In the Snyder version, he tears a steel door off its hinges with an oil rig while being on fire to save the workers. Cooler. And Gunn's just kind of comparing, like, are they just doing a copy and paste type shit? Yeah, dude, listen, Lei Xiang, the more I see about the Superman movie, the less interested I am, to be honest.
Yep.
And you're more of a Superman fan than I am.
Yep.
But how are you feeling with what you've seen so far?
I agree. My feelings about it is becoming more dismal.
Yep.
And then every time I see that terrier fucking super dog. It's like I just cringe a little bit. Dude.
Then he talks about how it kind of seems like Gunn's doing the same thing that Snyder did, where they're rushing, adding too many heroes day one.
Right.
On that, I don't know. I think if handled properly, it could be a good thing to launch a movie with a lived-in universe already and not have Superman be the only superhero.
Right.
But I just, a lot of things I'm seeing from this don't look like a good thing.
Right.
But anyways.
Listen, I don't give a shit if you have like 1,000 people in it. Just spin a good tale and make it work.
Yes, absolutely. Riri Williams, what's up, Mike and Adrian? Congrats on the 2 years. The reason I had the gloves on is because I was at work watching the podcast. I asked if he was doing some MJ with the glove or something. Anyways, he says that I know my boy Adrian was gangster like that because my boy likes Tupac. See, I didn't know either, dude. We were talking about this the other day in the car. I even broke out my Tupac playlist for you, bro.
Yep.
He says it's his absolute favorite artist of all time. There you go, bro, man. Keep up the good work, and here's to many more years of Only Comics. # intern for life.
Nice.
Yeah, dude, Tupac. We were actually on one of these weeks on other stuff. We're going to get into the whole Tupac, the murder, the conspiracy. And I was thinking about this today. Tupac's murder was how I got into conspiracy theories.
Really?
You can believe that. Yes.
Wow.
Because if you remember, right after he was killed, there was rumors that he was still alive.
Right.
He went to some Jamaica with fucking Elvis and Bob Marley and all these other people that faked their death too, right?
Yep.
But as a 6th grade kid, Adrian, who was a diehard Tupac fan, I wanted that shit to be true.
Right.
So what I do, I had a computer. I went on the internet. I started, research. It wasn't even Google back then. It started probably Yahoo or fucking AOL search or something.
Hoping for some Tupac sightings.
Dude, hopefully. But there was always shit like there was always these conspiracies. And that rabbit hole led me to conspiracy theories in general because you'd imagine what type of websites you would end up on looking for like Tupac alive rumors.
Right.
Next thing you know, you got aliens. Next thing you know, you got something like.
Gotcha,
so that's how I always wonder, how did I even go down that rabbit hole? But that was where it all started. So thank you.
I can't remember pretty much not having a conspiracy theory mind because remember, I grew up before comics. I was into mythology.
Yeah.
Greek, Egyptian, Indian, Norse, all that stuff. So I knew about Thor before I even got into the Marvel stuff, so on and so forth. So my thing just kind of grew from that.
Yeah. Well, I figured it out. So Victor Valdez says, Mike, you fucking called it. Yes. And they said, oh, fucking well, you should have watched it already. It started with the name change. Yeah, they did. But you know what? I don't look at that as a spoiler, though.
No.
Like, a lot of people complain, oh, they spoiled the movie. How does that? It's just a name change.
Yep.
Now, if they said, Sentry fucking does X, Y, and Z, or Taskmaster is killed right away, that's spoiling the movie.
Right.
But changing the title, it just probably just adds a little layer of intrigue to it,
Or the void is not actually, snuffing people out.
Right.
He's transporting you to a void.
Correct. Ryan Sandlin says, my boy Adrian has got to stop with the hate on the original 2 Fantastic Four movies. Sorry, Ryan. And then he goes on to say this. And what I'm going to reply to you with, Ryan, is with all love. But he says, they were not that bad and on par with the Tobey Spider-Man of the same time period. He just said that these Fantastic Four shit show of a fucking movie was on par with the great Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies.
Well,
are you going to tell me these aren't great?
No, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that at all.
My hope.
Even though he was, 56 when he played the part. But no. So the first 2 Fantastic Four movies weren't that bad. It's the third one that was the shit show.
Okay.
I mean, the math wasn't mathing. Just a whole bunch of things going wrong. So I'm not really, that down on. I actually thought the guy who played Reed Richards. Actually, all of those casts were cast, I think, good,
except for Doom.
Except for Doom.
Yeah.
I even liked the Doom.
You liked him. Okay.
I didn't like how they did with the suit. That was kind of messed
ridiculous.
up. So I actually liked the first 2 Fantastic Fours. The third one was just a complete shit show.
But do you agree that they're on par? Now, I guess this all would be.
No, I don't agree with that.
Okay. So they're definitely. Would you say they're lower than mid?
Lower.
Okay. Lower than mid, though.
Oh, lower than mid? No, I would say they're mid.
They're mid, okay.
The first two.
Got it.
The third one, lower than mid.
Yep. I would say they were a fucking atrocity, Adrian. All three of them. Yeah. So, Ryan, you should be mad at me, not Adrian.
Exactly.
Fuck those movies. They should be deleted. Can we unalive a movie? Find out if any of you interns, find out if we can unalive a movie, because I'd love to unalive both of those movies. But
they're on the internet, so no.
Damn it. Sons of Sekhmet says Thunderbolts' new name. Balls hit the lettuce Avengers. That's a good use. It makes sense, right? Yeah. Because they're not like the OG Avengers, you don't want balls in your lettuce. Maybe someone does. I don't. You don't, right? No. Sons of Sekhmet also says it would be neat to have you guys go live. I unfortunately work Monday nights, so can only tune in live on vacation. Yeah, we probably wouldn't do it Monday nights.
No.
And then really, I guess if it's possible, I'll probably just throw out a poll and see when most people will be available, and we'll do something, dude.
That'll work.
He also says, congratulations to 2 years, and here's to 2 more years. And yes, love the podcast.
Get some of that super soldier serum. There's going to be 200 years of
absolutely,
this bad
dude.
boy.
Yeah, they should figure that out before the teleportation shit. Shit. C. Jason 1, bottom 5, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Yeah, that movie sucks. And then The Marvels. Okay. Brave New World. Oh, come on, man. Eternals and Thor: Love and Thunder. Yeah, I'm with you for most of those. And his top 5 since Endgame: Thunderbolts, Shang-Chi, Deadpool, Wolverine, Guardians 3, No Way Home. I mean, it's a solid list. Obviously, you can move around wherever, but that's pretty much, I think, what we said. All right. That dude, Pablo, had to skip half the damn episode because I haven't seen Thunderbolts yet. Needless to say, I'm taking tomorrow off, not because I'm thrilled about the movie, just so I can watch the pod. There you go.
There you go.
Cheers to 2 years. Yes. Let's see. Did he comment after he saw it? Dan, I'm okay. Show report, but what's I viewed? Well, he did. He said, well, y'all were right as fuck. Hey, I thought Brave New World was pretty good, but Thunderbolts blew it out of the water. Perfect movie for right now. Yep, there you go. Yeah, I mean, I don't think we said this last week, but actually, I'll ask you on agree or disagree. C. Jason says best MC movie since Guardians 3. I agree with that. Congratulations on the 2 years. Thunderbolts was awesome. And then Mick Skeeter says, so what do y'all think of Halle Berry playing Storm again? I know when I heard that news, I thought of y'all instantly. All right. I mean,
if you've heard 2 of our podcasts, you know how we feel about that.
Right. Honestly, though, I'm at the point now, Adrian, where it's Secret Wars. Fucking, I think you and I might be in this movie. Everyone's going to be in it. Like, hey, if it's just for a cameo, quick scene, whatever. I don't want to see her, like, lead role, fucking leading the Avengers, like some Jennifer Lawrence, Mystique type nonsense. So if it's, hey, she's over there playing with the clouds or something, fucking have at it, Right. What about you? How do you feel about this news?
What news?
Halle Berry.
Well, that's not news. It was a question. How do you feel about her showing up? And no. I'm not feeling that at all.
At all.
In any variation.
Even if it's a cameo, you're like,
no.
Okay.
I don't give a shit.
Got it.
Well, I don't mind. I agree. I mean, I'm a little harsh on it, but no, I don't mind the cameo thing, but definitely not a lead role.
You are a little harsh this week, H. I mean, you were positive last week. That's because it was the 2-year anniversary.
Hey, that's it.
This week you're back to your usual self.
That's it.
Staying consistent. Yep. Get her out of the movie. No. Let's see. We had a couple non-interns here. Dark Side of Raider says 2 years. Let's fucking go. There you go. Tay Stark says, are the gorillas' genitals encased in some type of metal? All concentrated nut shots.
What are we
the gorilla versus the humans. Like, if you just kick them in the nuts a bunch of times. I think gorilla nuts are probably a little bit harder than human nuts, dude.
No comment.
And you're not even going to be able to get there, dude.
No.
You're not. He's going to fucking rip your leg off and shove it up your ass, Tay. That's what he's probably. So stay out of it, dude. Don't go there. Plank the Tank. What up, guys? Another Kraken show. It was a Kraken show last week, Adrian. I've been watching since Adrian did a hidden gem on Firestorm. Dude, that was a while back.
That was a while ago, yeah.
Yep. He's seen the new Avengers twice, gave it a 7.6, second time going up to an 8.4. Okay.
Actually, I gotta watch the new Avengers again because I actually fell asleep.
Did you?
And then I woke up and they were in the room. So I missed something.
Damn, she fell asleep right off the bat.
Yeah.
We should take a power nap in the beginning.
Hey.
Okay, all right. He says, Mike, you're 100% right about Dune. Boring as fuck. Dune lovers need to go fly a kite. Yes.
There you
yes.
go.
Or they can go fuck off. Actually,
Or that.
some guys taught me this before. Tell them to go for coffee. Say that slow. Go for coffee. Go for coffee.
Right.
Yeah. So anyways, I'll just say go fuck off. It's easier.
Yeah.
Would love to hear a hidden gem from Adrian about Frank Castle, going from Punisher to War Machine and even being Cosmic Ghost Rider. So Frank Castle will probably be an interesting one. All right. And then we're going to hop over to Spotify real quick, look at a few of those. And then, Adrian, we're going to get into some hidden gem this week.
All right.
Wonder who we got. It's not Frank Castle.
It is not Frank Castle.
Is it Halle Berry's Storm?
It is not.
Like just that variant? No? Okay. All right, let's see. Spotify.
Well, you tooling around with that.
Yep.
So I saw something with Kelsey Grammer. I'm kind of thinking that, I mean, his version of Beast was probably the best,
Yeah,
but dude's old, man.
he is. I
It's
think
like
that's why
crazy.
they're going with the CGI, like the motion capture version,
Gotcha.
like we saw in the Marvels.
All right.
You do that, he can do it till he's fucking 90, dude.
Exactly.
You know? So let's see. OG Dirte on Spotify says, what do you think about these headlines? Sergeant Rock movie's been canceled. I don't even know what the fuck a Sergeant Rock is. James Gunn Superman saved. Judge sides with WB over Schuster Estate. I don't even know. And what do you think about Trump tariffs hitting the movie? I heard that any movie shot overseas are about to get hit with some tariffs. I don't know. You know what? I just think that everyone blames the terrorists for everything, so that's what I do. Like, you know, if I forget something at home or I trip and fall, it's the terrorist's fault, dude, you know? But Drunken Legend said, did you guys notice that Marvel, they gave the Marvel logo at the start of Thunderbolts the Void treatment? It was black and dark. I did. Did you pick up on that?
Yep.
That was pretty cool.
Yep.
And then C says, another great episode. Spoiler alerts for Thunderbolts post-credit scene. If you haven't watched it, go. Yep, we saw that. He says, I don't think the Fantastic Four are in their ship. I have a theory it's either Doctor Doom or their kid. That's what brings them to the MCU's main Earth. I seen that theory too this week.
What's that?
So we saw the post-credit scene with
Yep.
the Fantastic Four ship. We don't know who's in it. We just assume it's a Fantastic Four. There's been a theory that Doom somehow got their ship and is coming to the MCU. Or they sent Franklin to the MCU. Could be.
Either way, the Fantastic Four is showing up.
They're going to show
Some
up,
point,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. Right, and then Russell Dowis.
But wait a minute, how couldn't it be Franklin when Franklin just was born?
Yeah, I mean, he can age himself up, right?
Well, there's that.
And they're trying to keep him from Galactus. So do they fucking,
Also,
send him?
do like a Superman thing, right?
There you go. Yep, they're gonna. MCU is gonna do Superman better than Superman. They
Exactly.
already did with Sentry, and now they got the Franklin. I mean, you could unalive Superman.
Exactly.
Yes.
Or unalive DC.
Yes, Martha. But then there's that.
Yeah.
Last but not least, Russell Dowis says Adrian's next hidden gem, the gorilla.
Silverback. Yeah.
Yes, I actually like that. You know what? Adrian, say this one for next week and do Silverback Gorilla this week.
Yep.
Well, you did Gorilla Grodd before, right? Yeah.
I have.
Yeah, no, he would do 1,000 men.
Oh, he would do 1,000.
Fuck,
Yeah.
Jesus. Anyway, so speaking of the hidden gem, Adrian, who do we have on hidden gem this week?
All right, so we did a lot about Thunderbolts, and in Thunderbolts, right, there were 3 super soldiers, right? You had the Red Guardian, you had what's his face?
Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier, and you had what's the other guy?
U.S. agent.
Yeah. Oh, John Walker.
John Walker.
Right.
Yep.
So, I figured this week's hidden gem would be the Super Soldier Serum.
Ooh.
Now, here's the thing. And
Which one?
Exactly. There's been a lot, dude.
Yeah.
A lot, including some alternate Earth Super Soldier shit. And then at the end, I'm gonna rank them, the strength of the Super Soldiers, right? All right. So if you don't know what it is, Super Soldier Serum is basically a serum that is it's a chemical solution originally created by Abraham Erskine.
Yeah.
Formulated to enhance the human body and the mind. Basically, it's designed to transform the body into its peak condition and and the mind as well. And there have been several people that have been subjected to it. The first person was Johann Schmidt, former head of Hydra. Didn't work out too well for him because he went, he's basically mad, and it peeled all the fucking skin off of his face and gave him this red tint, thus the Red Skull. The second person was Steve Rogers. That's the Abraham version of it. You saw what they did for him. Then there was Bucky Barnes. He also got a version of that. Isaiah Bradley was next. Of course, Isaiah Bradley being, black, he got his unwillingly and unknowingly, right?
Really?
Yeah. It was like a World War II, experimenting on black people kind of a deal. Like, let's see what syphilis looks like in the blankets, all this other kind of stuff. They told him that they was giving him a tetanus shot.
Yeah.
And he wasn't the only one that got the serum. It was like a bunch of black soldiers that got it. He was the only one that survived it, pretty much.
Okay, so not everyone survived the serum.
No.
So you said Red Skull got some.
Red Skull
fucked him up.
Fucked him up.
Then it was
Rogers.
Right. Then Bucky.
Then
Isaiah
Bradley. Right. This is like the Korean War level thing.
Got it.
As a matter of fact, so anyway, but hold on. So Isaiah Bradley once. So the government sent him after Winter Soldier. He was supposed to take the Winter Soldier out. Right. He failed to do that. They both survived. And then he came back and tries freeing the other soldiers that were part of this experiment. And because of that, they put him in jail for 30 years. Really, they were afraid of a black super soldier, running rampant. So they put him in prison for 30 years. He finally got out by faking his death, and then moved to Baltimore and ended up being Sam's mentor and trainee.
Got it.
But basically, he, just like everything else that happened with, not everything, but all the experimentation with black soldiers back in the day, Korean War, World War I and II, and so on and so forth, they were unwilling participants of it. And he just happened to survive the experience.
Yeah.
Then came Alexei Shostakov, which we understand is the Red Guardian. Yeah. Bruce Banner. So Thaddeus Ross gave Bruce Banner the serum. Challenged him to. He gave him some version of the serum to get it to work. Bruce didn't know what it was. Yeah. But instead of using this this Vita radiation, Bruce substituted the gamma, which just made him the Hulk. Right?
So he got a version of the serum, and he was supposed to reverse engineer it,
reverse engineer it, and figure out how to get it to work. Because of course, Thaddeus, he wants to do what everybody else was. Yeah, he's gonna make a whole army of super soldiers.
Got it. So he adds some gamma to it, thinking this is gonna help.
Right.
Fucking thing explode. Some shit happens, and he turns into the Hulk.
Correct.
Got it.
Pretty much the same thing with Emil Blonsky, the Abomination.
Oh yeah.
He also did it a little differently and became a different version, not of a super soldier, but obviously the thing that he became.
And in Incredible Hulk, if you remember, he takes a few doses.
Right.
The first one does make him like a super soldier, but also makes him fucking a little wacky, right?
Right.
And then he takes too much of it, which then turns him into the Abomination.
Correct. Then you have Carly Morgenthau, a female. She was the leader of the Flag Smashers, and they were a group of people that wanted to restore restore things back to where it was. So there was a snap, and there was the blip. The snap was when Thanos took out 50% of everybody.
Yeah.
The blip was when everybody returned.
Right.
And her group wanted to return things post blip to the way they were before the snap. Right?
Yeah. Which we saw in the Falcon and Winter Soldier show.
Right.
Yeah.
So she stole a copy of. She was working with Sharon Carter. Had access apparently to Super Soldier serum.
Yeah.
And she, took that, and that's how she got it. But eventually, because she was basically a terrorist, right? Sharon Carter eventually ended up killing her. And then the other person was John Walker, U.S. agent.
Yep.
And so the different types or the different variants of the super soldier serum. Abraham Erskine's version, which got Steve Rogers, the Winter Soldier, and Isaiah Bradley. There was the Zoloft version, which so basically that's the one that the Red Skull took. And what happened was he was experimenting on captured American soldiers in Germany. Of course, all of those died, right? And then I guess the Red Skull was the successful version, even though, he turned out the way he did. There was, of course, the Soviet variant, which is what the Red Guardian got. Stark made a variant, which is probably the...
Of course he did.
Of course he did. That was the most perfect version since the Steve Rogers version, right? And that's when Hydra sent the Winter Soldier to kill Stark and his wife and steal the Super Soldier version. But it was injected with... And they distributed it. So the vital radiation was a means of delivery, and then they also had this thing called a rebirthing pod. So when you in Captain America, what Steve got into, that pod.
Yep.
So when they injected him, the radiation that he was exposed to plus that pod is why that version of the serum was so successful. Well, the the Soviet version was they were trying to use that serum, but without that radiation or the pod. So they made basically crazies.
Got it.
And then there was the Banner variant, which is, again, substituted as vital radiation, which with gamma radiation, and Bruce ended up the way he did. So basically, the Super Soldier serum allows an enhanced strength, speed, durability, and also, obviously, it makes your reflexes faster. You heal faster by increasing your metabolism. And also, like Steve Rogers, he basically has a photographic memory as a result. So he can remember pretty much everything that he looks at.
Okay.
Some of the physical feats, again, it doesn't make you like a sentry, but it makes you an above average, like athletic person. You can lift like 800 pounds over your head, run 30 miles an hour or more. You can have activity, strenuous activity for up to 12 hours, not this all day shit like Captain America always talking about.
But he can do it all day, Adrian.
Yeah,
he can do it all day.
Yeah, he can do it all day. Well, all day with rest.
Got it.
Faster healing, durability, immunity to any disease, illness, and poison on demand, including alcohol. So basically, they can't get drunk, kind of a deal.
Yeah.
Memory recall, reflexes, and of course, slowed aging, right? And we see that more with Bucky than we do with Steve, because Steve actually went back in time and aged back in time, and then came back and retired his shield. Now, the last thing is, so I was inquiring about, well, with all these different variants, right, who is the strongest out of all of these? And the answer will surprise you. Well, who it is not will surprise you. So, number 9, Red Guardian.
Okay.
Number 8, the Flag Smasher, the female.
Yeah.
So the female was stronger than the Red Guardian.
Damn.
Winter Soldier, number 7. U.S. Agent, number 6. Isaiah Bradley, Red Skull. Number 3, Captain America. Number 2, Captain Carter. And then number 1, Emily Blonsky, if you want to categorize him as, that type of person. I would not.
Got it.
But basically, Captain Carter was the strongest out of what we understand to be super soldiers, right? And then followed by Captain America, Red Skull, Bradley, Agent, Winter Soldier, Flag, and then Red Guardian, the last.
Wow.
So that's it for this week, Hidden Gem. So it's actually a serum, the Hidden Gem.
Yeah.
I just thought it was curious, because we did have 3, and then U.S. Agent leaping tall buildings in a single bound up that shaft and shit. Right. I was like, wait a minute. I've never seen, Captain America do that, but apparently they can do those kind of things.
Yeah, absolutely. You haven't seen Captain America do that because you don't play Marvel Rivals, Adrian. Cap's
guess.
got this jumping attack in there. I forget what it's called, but if you hit R1, his speed increases, so he's like in a full-time sprint mode, which he can do all day in the game. But he has this rechargeable jump that launches it up in the air, dude, for fucking hell of a good time. And then he's got the shield, and you can crash down with the shield.
Okay, that
and
makes
impact
sense.
everyone around you. Yeah, Cap's kind of he's kind of OP this
Right.
recent season. So I haven't talked a lot about Marvels. I have been playing a little bit. I absolutely fucking love playing as Emma Frost. She is a savage.
Right.
I'm
sure.
Yes. But dude, the serum, so as you were doing that, I was pulling up some stuff in Chat GPT because I'm like, how many different individuals took the serum or a version of it. And there's some that are actually
there's more. There's definitely more.
There's some that will really shock you. Like Omega Red.
Right.
He's a mutant with enhancements from the Russian government, so it was like a different version of this. There, Baron Zemo took some, version of this as well. Luke Cage, so he didn't take the serum, but there was some super soldier type experimentation on him which gave him his powers. Jessica Jones, not direct serum, but there was a car crash with some military chemical. They're always just driving around with chemicals.
Now,
right?
Jessica Jones got her injection from Luke Cage.
I think that was before, or that was after the serum, though, Adrian. Dude, even Norman Osborn, the Goblin,
Of course.
he took that, some variant of it. And then later in this Hickman run, Tony Stark becomes Superior Iron Man. You ever heard of Superior Iron Man?
Yeah.
With the all silver suit and shit, where he perfects the serum. Of course he does. He's fucking
Well, there's also what was it, a serum? But so they're using super soldier serum loosely.
Yes.
Because so you have the herb from Wakanda.
Right.
It's somewhere on that list. And what's his name? Tony Stark created Extremis.
Oh yeah.
They consider that kind of like.
Was he messing with the serum then too?
No, but he
something
created
like it.
Extremis, right?
Yeah.
Which is kind of like some kind of biological enhancement.
Yeah. Dude, even like the Weapon X stuff were like modified versions of this. Like the shit that gave Deadpool his power
Right.
was a variant of
Sure.
this. But it's crazy to think, and they don't, and they will now that we talked about it, because
Of
you know
course.
how it is.
Yeah.
But as you're going through this, I'm like, why is the super soldier serum not been a bigger presence in any Marvel universe if so many characters were impacted, not by the original, but either by a variant, by an attempted recreate? Like, a lot of characters receive their power from some type of super soldier serum.
Right. Or some kind of process. Peter got bit by a spider.
Right.
Daredevil, the fucking train wreck in the middle of the street,
Sure.
and Hell's Kitchen. There's some kind of catalyst. There has to be some kind of catalyst. But you can't have you can only have so many variants of a super soldier character, because then they start competing with each other.
Yeah.
So Red Skull, some of these guys are villains, some of these guys are heroes. So you have the Red Guardian, then you have the opposite Captain America. You can't have another variant of that, because then they're starting competing with each other. Sharon Carter, she was like a secret agent, so she can kind of get away with it, but she's also in an alternate universe, right? Blonsky, he's basically a monster. The Hulk, he's another monster. So they're completely different characters. Winter Soldier, he's like this one-off that's kind of in between, but he has his own separate identity, but he's definitely not a Captain America or a Red Guardian. So you have enough, and then you have, of course, the fallen experiment, black person, right?
Yeah.
Who's kind of in the background, kind of like a filler. So he's not competing with anybody, because he's been pretty much exiled for 30 years.
Right.
And now he's in hiding because everybody thinks he's dead. But until they arrested him with, the new Captain America thing.
Right.
So the reason that I think that there's more of them is because they would simply just start competing with each other.
Yeah. But it just sounds like a perfect way to tie a bunch of different characters together from a story standpoint.
Sure.
That they had this serum that, Captain America's the guy, and everyone and their brother wanted to recreate that.
Right.
Which we're even still seeing in the MCU now, like with them wanting to, Valentina wanting to create Sentry.
Right.
It ain't the direct super soldier serum, but it's, I'm sure it's similar. I'm sure it's some type of variant they got from the Shield to try to do it, whatever. But it's just, I didn't realize that many characters tied back to that serum in some way, shape, or form.
Right.
Even if it's an attempt to recreate it, it's still, you wouldn't know about it if they didn't create the serum.
Now, again, the military. They're always trying to get some kind of military advantage, right?
Oh yeah.
Now, imagine if they were successful. You would have had like 1,000. Matter of fact, now what happens when soldiers go to war, right? They go overseas. They start smashing foreigners, right? They have babies. So if they had been successful with this super soldier serum, right? And these dudes going dicking down everything that they dick down.
Right. Balls in the lettuce.
Yep. So the human race itself would be a completely different animal today.
Sure.
I'm just saying.
It's why we have Neanderthal genes, Adrian. Hey, that's other stuff. You want
That's
that?
other stuff,
Go
dude.
meet us on Wednesday on other stuff. Also, why does the Pentagon have a big Hollywood budget, and why are they involved in movies?
Think about that
teaser.
one.
We're gonna talk about that one on Wednesday. That's a little teaser. Should I drop that right there?
I see.
I found that out recently, and I'm like, makes sense, but why?
Moon landing.
Ha. Anyways, I know it is landing, Adrian. We're about to land. We're about to get into some agree to disagree and wrap this thing up. A great hidden gem. Caught me by surprise, dude. That was we're so in tune. So catch me by surprise that you're doing something. But I mean, super soldier serum, this is even in the MCU, we've seen a lot of it. Anyways, so we're gonna move on. Agree to disagree. This is where I give out, and I got eight opinions today, guys. Cut that out. Don't have me fucking looking stupid on here. And can someone get another? You need another coffee,
dude.
Jesus! And turn the AC on. What the fuck are these guys doing? We need the real interns here. So that's why I got to go live so we can talk to our people, because
got to do some recruiting here.
They're about to get unalived in this motherfucker, Adrian. I'm not fucking around. So God,
language,
Jesus. All right. Anyways, happy Mother's Day. Agree to disagree. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's fucking go.
Number one. The statement that Dr. Doom needs more of a build-up before being introduced in Avengers Doomsday is the epitome of lunacy.
It's bullshit, I tell you.
So is that an agree?
I agree.
The MCU absolutely needs T'Challa to be part of the mutant saga.
Disagree.
Okay.
It would be great if it did, but he doesn't. They don't absolutely need him. It would completely pooch screw so many other things.
Yes, that part.
But absolute need?
Okay.
No.
All right, maybe what I'm making is what they call the educated wish, okay?
There you go.
All right, Thunderbolts / New Avengers was better than Captain America Brave New World.
Which one's Brave New World?
Sam Wilson. What we just saw.
Disagree.
Wow, okay. You think Cap was better than Thunderbolts?
Yeah.
Sam Wilson should not take the super soldier serum.
Disagree.
Stop the ridiculousness with all this John Walker glaze. Steve Rogers, Captain America, would dog walk U.S. agent.
I agree.
Tony Stark is kind of a douche in the comics.
He's definitely a douche in the comics.
I mean, even that Spider-Man stuff we were just talking about earlier, like, you literally stole his spider senses and fucking whooped his ass. Anyways.
Now, wait a minute. About that, I meant to make a comment about that, right? So think about this. So he's not just disrupting his spidey sense.
Yeah.
But that armor weighs a fuck ton.
Yeah.
Right? So, and you know how fast Spider-Man is.
Right.
So even though he's messing with his spider senses, Peter can still see this guy.
Right.
And Tony is still maneuvering around his shots and blows and webs.
Right.
So that's not just about. So it speaks to not only his genius level to be able to mess with his spidey sense, but the technology that's involved in that suit in order to move it enough to dodge Spider-Man.
Right.
That is
insane.
huge. It's insane.
Yep. Absolutely.
Anyway, that was that.
Yes. But just for how amazing he is.
Yep.
When you really dig into, you see a lot of stuff he's done. He's kind of an ass, dude.
Because he's like, I mean,
he's
done
a fuck.
so much. Right. He's done so much. He's his own compass at this point.
And we've seen some of that in the MCU, like when he creates Ultron because he just has to mess with the scepter, right?
Right.
Like,
and Ultron ain't shit compared to Extremis.
Correct.
So it just gets worse and worse and worse. You know, him and Strange team up. The multiverse is doomed.
Absolutely. And then he's got Reed over there, his little errand boy and shit, trying to impress Mr. Stark. Like, holy shit. Anyways, and then X2 and Days of Future Past are great movies.
No. Disagree.
Last but not least, everybody watching should take a break from this video, go to the YouTube channel, and join the Legion of Interns so you can join us every Wednesday on other stuff.
Absolutely.
That was a mouthful, no diddy.
That was a mouthful.
But anyways, dude, that was I think the most disagrees in Only Comics history. We're making history today, Adrian.
We're making history.
We are. That's what happens here on Only Comics. So
it happens.
We done a little early today, so wanted to touch on a couple things here. The reason why I say Sam Wilson shouldn't take the serum is I feel like if he takes the serum, we're just getting another Steve Rogers-esque Captain America. I like the fact that a lot of his struggle, like we saw in Brave New World, is trying to live up to this idea of what Captain America was and trying to do it almost his own way and prove that he's good enough without having to take that serum.
I disagree because Captain America is an idea. The super soldier serum is like his shield. It's a tool.
Okay.
It's just a tool.
Yeah.
And he's going to need that tool to be able to do things.
Yeah.
Right. So he's already a different Captain America because of his mindset.
Yeah.
Right. And he's shifting more toward that leadership thing, and that's what Captain America embodies: leadership. But also a capable soldier, right? So I think him taking the super soldier serum is him getting it's the same thing as him having like vibranium in his wings. It's a tool.
Got it. Okay. Well, there you have it. And what we just did, guys, is we agreed to disagree.
Right.
No one got upset. I didn't call you names on TikTok. I didn't say, you're so wrong, you're stupid, you know nothing, Adrian.
Yep.
We agree to disagree. Because guess what? Opinions can be different. And it's okay. And you all should take a lesson from us, really. That's as they say, in church, love thy neighbor, okay? As someone that doesn't go to church ever.
Man, we are all over the place.
We do.
Today,
you just never know what you're going to get, dude. I tell you what, I started reading that Pentagon shit, and it's just got me all like, holy shit. I mean, a lot of movies, which we're going to get into on other stuff, but where they either agree to participate in or not. There's some they've even shut down certain things. Like they, if it's anything that portrays them in a negative light, they're not going to support. Like it's now if you portray the military in a nice light, they give you everything. Do you want planes for your movie? You want access? Right. You want this? You want that? It's just interesting, Adrian. That's all. It's interesting. But this isn't news to you. You knew about this.
No. Hey, it's while you were saying that, while you were talking about that, it made me remember about this bomb. It wasn't the atom bomb, but there was this bomb that they were trying to create. And what it does is it feeds off of oxygen.
Okay.
But before they tested it, they didn't know how much oxygen it was going to feed off of. So basically, when they lit this thing off, it literally could have ate up all the oxygen on the planet.
Damn.
But I mean, that's just one little experiment.
Right. Yeah. Who cares?
Who cares?
We'll just try it out, see what happens.
Right. Hey, humans are curious animals, man. And they will destroy themselves when their curiosity.
Absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. So, all right. Well, that is it for the show. Guys, thanks for spending your time with us today. Subscribe if you haven't already. Like this, share this, drop us a comment. Let us know about the live. When you guys will be available. Let us know when you'll be available for the live. You can go to onlycomicsmerch.com to get, I believe this shirt is on there, Adrian. Now, if I lied, sorry, but I think it is. But bunch of new comics. And guys, if there's something you're looking for, let us know. We are going to build that out a little bit more. A lot of new stuff to come, Major. We've been game planning.
Big game plan.
The future is bright for Only Comics, Adrian. So, Adrian, thanks for coming out.
Absolutely, man.
Appreciate you. And you guys know where to find us every week right here on Only Comics. And if you are an intern, we'll see you on Wednesday. We're going to talk about the Pentagon. Wait
a minute. What you got?
Let
me turn this around.
Oh, yeah. Come on.
They're not sponsoring,
no.
So fuck them.
Fuck those guys. Unbelievable. But I would still say don't go to Starbucks, though.
Absolutely.
Starbucks, you could unalive that whole business. Get them out of here. But anyways, thanks for checking us out. We'll see you next week right here on Only Comics.
Peace.